Yo, what's up, family? Now, look, some people ask me a question like this. Man, how was you able to buy a car, right? I'm gonna explain what happened to me, how I was able to buy a car and didn't pay for it. So, I've been dealing with the EIN thing, I wanna say a year, right? It's been a year since I've been using it and whatever the case might be, right? Now, from the time when I first got the car, I only had the EIN probably 6 months, something like that. And so I applied for a Bank of America account, and simultaneously I was using my EIN. Now I only used my EIN like one time or something like that, but when I got my Bank of America, I got it under no social or EIN. I got it by saying I'm from American Samoa. That's my country of citizenship. So I end up getting approved without a social, without an EIN, strictly no social, no EIN. So when she put the social in, she put all zeros. So at the time where I was living in Kissimmee, Florida, or Kissimmee, Florida, right? I was making my payments on my credit card, and then suddenly that tri-merged to that EIN number. So all my credit history starts switching over to that EIN number. So that Bank of America put my credit, let's say, at a 7 something, right? So that was good. That was real good. So eventually I got a friend next door. Her family is in the military and all that, right? So I asked her. We was chilling and everything. She said, "Man, you wanna get a Navy Fed?" I said, "Yeah, what's that? I've been hearing about Navy Fed." She said, "Yeah, man, they sweet. They got the easiest loans. You can get this, you can get that." And I said, "All right, I'll apply for it." So I applied for an account with them. Instantly got approved. Now I'm gonna tell y'all. When I first applied, I was indecisive on which number I'm going to use, because at the time I had a CPN number and I had an EIN number. So this is where the EIN story started. I was thinking, I'm like, man, use the CPN. Then part of me was like, no, use that EIN. But I remember one of my accounts got closed with the EIN number because they couldn't verify the social. But I was kind of scared. I was like, no. But someone was telling me in my gut, man, no, use the EIN number. So I used it. I'm like, all right, come on. Use the EIN number. It said, congratulations, you qualify for membership. I was happy. I was like, yeah. She told me, she was like, hey, apply for a loan. They might give it to you. They gave me $20,000 off the rip. And I said, you think so? She like, yeah. I'm like, okay, let me see. Apply for $20,000. Denied. I'm like, okay. So later down the town, I forgot all about that. I was just using my Navy Fed account, right? I was happy to have it. That was a real good account. So I was using it every day, deposit money in it, or whatever the case might be. Now, moving time come. I end up applying for an apartment with the EIN. Now, imagine, I'm a so-called quote-unquote convicted felon. So I didn't know if this is going to go through or not. So I sent it to the landlord, my information. She approved it. Boom. Approved the whole everything, right? So she approved the whole 9 yards, right? So once she approved it, she said, I check your background. You ain't got no background or whatnot. No, she said, I check your criminal record. Everything clears. Okay, I'm like, okay, perfect. And then after that, she said, hey, is this a new social security number? I'm like, no. I just never had credit, bullshit. Cause she like, this man got a thin file, So whatever happened after that, right? So remind y'all, throughout that time when I applied in April. Then I met Rick. Y'all seen me went live with him, with Ricky Light. So when I met him, this man was telling me everything about credit. He was like, man, I got 780. He was on point with credit. And so I was telling, this is around the time where we was talking about the 1099A or how to discharge your car loan and all that, right? Now, this is before I hopped on to all this car loan and charged off stuff, right? This is before I learned about it. So when I was telling him about it, he was intrigued that stuff like this exists, like the do not detain list or how to live in a private. He was shocked. And so Rick ended up, he was cool. He said, bro, I'll put you on the trade line. And I said, for real? He said, yeah. He said, which one you want to get on? I said, I want to get on your best one. So it was a $30,000 limit, and he had it for over 2 years. So he put me on that trade line, right? I never did nothing with it. He told me, he said, man, you got a Navy Fed? I'm like, yeah. He said, okay, I could have just used your access number to put it on. I said, it's okay, just use the EIN. He used the EIN number that I gave him as my social, right? So Fast forward the story, it hit, right? I ain't thought much of the trade now. I'm like, man, this ain't nothing. It's cool, but I ain't really thought nothing because I wasn't on credit like that, y'all. I was really into like flipping my money, going to Amazon. This before I even hopped on all this credit stuff, right? And so I was watching this dude on YouTube. Now, y'all need to subscribe to bro. His name is King Hustle. King Hustle got the sauce. So I was just, it was a Sunday morning. I got into the new place. It's beautiful. It's since I moved away now, it's called Cortland Nona. Y'all got to check it out. Cortland Nona in Orlando. They're like an apartment complex, man. We going back, but Cortland Nona, right? So once I was there, it was like a Sunday. It was a Sunday morning. Good morning. Sun was out. Everything. So I watched this King Hustle video. He said, get approved for auto loan with bad credit. So I checked it out. I'm still thinking I got bad credit. Even though I'm at a 700, I'm still thinking I got bad credit. I don't even think I ran my TransUnion or nothing. So he was like, man, Navy Fed giving out $75,000 auto loans. So he said, all you gotta do is apply. Say you make this much money. Say this, say that. So so they was like, so me, my dream car is a Ram. I love Ram trucks. So I put the application through. I'm putting Ram. They said, how much do you want for a loan? Now I was indecisive. I'm like, man, I should just do something light, just to see what they approve it. But then I told myself, man, skip that. Let's go all the way. I put $69,000. Kept going through the application. They asked me how much I made. I put how much I made. Now, how would you like the terms? I told them I'll do 24 months. Just seeing what I get it. I know damn well, I'm thinking, my man, I'm gonna get denied anyway. I just want to see, is he really telling the truth about this? I click next. Then they was like, okay, do you authorize Navy Fed to run your consumer credit report? I authorized it. And she came back, congratulations, you approve. I said, what? Okay. Now, once I got approved for that 69, they said, would you like us to ship the check? Or would you like us to go ahead and you can pick it up from the branch? And that branch you can send me, I'm back in Orlando. So I'm like, I'll pick it up from the branch. I told everybody, I'm like, man, I got approved for Navy Fed. I'm trying to see if this stuff real. I'm thinking it's fake. Because I've seen plenty approvals, pre-approvals. I'm searching to know, what do pre-approval mean with Navy Fed? And they said, pre-approval don't mean approved. I'm like, oh man, this shit is not real. This is not real. So come to find out, it was real. It was actually real. I went up there the next morning. He said, man, you got approved for, the dude at Navy Fed said, hey, you got approved for a $69,000 auto loan? Like, yeah, he was kind of shocked. And so, and I said, so how did this work? He said, man, you would get us to your dealer or whatever the case might be, right? And I'm saying, okay. He gave me the check. I had to sign terms and conditions, not the promissory note. That's what I'm trying to get to you guys. I did not sign a promissory note. They don't require that until you get a vehicle because you're shopping around. You don't sign a promissory note until you get a car. Okay, so a drive check go up to a certain amount. So $69,000 was the max I could spend. So I could spend $10,000 off of it, $20,000 off of it, $60,000 off of it. It does not matter. You just can't go over 69. So that day when I came back home, I'm like, boy, skip that car. I'm trying to get this money. How can I get this money out the check? So I'm trying to find ways. So now I'm trying to find ways to convert this mud to an unsecured personal loan because I'm watching videos on how you can do that. So I'm telling my peoples, I'm like, look, I got this draft check. I said, I need you to pretend to be a dealer for me. They said, okay. So they called the people. The lady can't sound skeptical because I put a female on the phone. The lady was like, yeah, so what type of car is it? They're like a white truck because I went online and felt my truck and felt the VIN number and everything. She said, okay, yeah, but do you have your dealer's ID number? And we couldn't tell them the dealer's ID number. So we told them something, right? Like, we got a dealer, we use this dealer ID number, right? And they was like, no, this don't come back as a Florida dealer or whatever the case might be, or this don't come back as a dealer at all. So where's your dealer location? And we couldn't say that, but we told them the address. They said, that's not coming back. Just let us know when you get the dealer's address. That's when we'll work on that. So that mission failed. I was sick. I was like, man. So I'm just stuck with this money. I want the money. I could care less about the car. Like, don't get me wrong, but I didn't have the mindset of thinking, man, I could discharge off my credit. I wasn't thinking about that at the time. I was not thinking about that. I was really on some whole other stuff. So you fast forward it, not the next day, but the day after, right? So the day after come, that's when I called them again. I'm like, man, this check ain't gonna work. Now I'm going through the process where I'm dealing with, not the dealer's check. It's something called when you buy something from a person, right? So I applied again for another Ram truck, another Ram Rebel. Put my information in, I'm talking to him over the phone. I'm applying over the phone. He said, yeah, he ran my name and everything like that. And I said, I want to apply for $68,900. The same thing I had before. Man, tell me why this man came back 2 minutes later and said, congratulations, you've been approved. I said, I really couldn't believe it. So now I'm up $138,000, right, just off the auto loan. So I'm like, okay, now I put the check in one of my people's name. Now we in action. So now I feel more happier. I flew up there. Now the check is in their name and everything. So this ain't even the dealer's check. I'm the stupid ass, me. So I can't blame nobody but me. I can't. So we end up getting the check and depositing it into that person's account. And they bank with Navy Fed. And so once we deposit the check, it was good. But, at that day, I was trying to clear them over. But this is the thing, I had the intentions of paying them back, honestly. I really do. I really had the intentions of paying them back, but this is what me and Navy fell out at. So once we got the check, I was trying to withdraw a lot of money that day. We like, hey, can we withdraw 30 from the account because we deposited and instantly, got it approved. So once we tried to go around, shop around, look around, couldn't find it. They ain't had no money. We like, hey, can we withdraw $10,000? They ain't had no money. So we ended up going to the bank that we got the check from originally the same goddamn day. Withdraw only $5,000, right? Then the next day, I was so geeked. I'm like, look, I need you to try to ask them to withdraw 50. So we tried to request for a $50,000 withdrawal. Security team locked the account. Now, the thing about it was, I wanted the loan to convert to an unsecured personal loan. So once they locked the account, that person didn't have access to it. Now, the money's still in that person's account, still unto this day. And so the check that I had, the original check, I was like, you know what? I'm like, why would Navy Fed lock the account? I said, okay, don't worry about it. Took the $5,000. And I said, I want that Ram. Okay, that's my dream truck. That's what I want. Went up there. I went online, found the truck. I thought it was a Ram Rebel or something like that, a 4x4. That's what I dreamed of. That's one of my favorite trucks. I seen it. It was for sale for like $64,000. So we hurried up and flew up there fast. Didn't waste no time. Once we got up there, I told him I want it. I seen that truck, and that truck seen me, and I fell in love, right? And so that day, when we pulled out, man, it took us a whole day in that dealership. So we signed the papers and everything, and also he tell me like, hey man, you got the right, you can register this mud yourself. And I'm like, yeah, I would. So he gave me an affidavit to register it myself, and I'm uploading that picture too. I just gotta get my printer to work. I actually got the picture right now on my phone. It's not a picture, it's a full PDF. And so when I left that day, I got me a free truck. Then the EIN started, right? So once I started with it, I just couldn't stop because I started learning about the consumer laws. I started learning about repossession, how to hide your vehicle from repossession. Is it illegal to not pay debt? I started finding out about charge-offs, all of that. And once I found out about it, that's when I started learning about credit. And I started understanding that this shit is a game, but I use it to my advantage in so many ways because even though I took a lot of downfalls, I still knew exactly what to do when it comes to this system, and I knew how to get my advantage from it. Because the same way every banking institution get the advantages from y'all for paying high APRs, or you guys paying twice on a card or something like that, or y'all get bamboozled out of y'all accounts, it's because of lack of knowledge. But if I had a lack of financial or consumer law knowledge, I would be in a better position where I can play chess as a creditor instead of the debtor, right? Because many people look at cars, they'll see $100,000 car, they say, man, that's a liability. In the entrepreneur world, paying for $100,000 car is a liability. Paying for a $66,000 car is a liability. But it's not a liability if it's free. That truck is an asset because it was free, and also it was taken off my credit report. Both of them. So both the loans, the 66,000 and the 66,000 plus the 68,000, both took it off my credit report of all 3 credit bureaus. And that's how you win. That's what you want to get at. That's what you want to learn about. Because now I don't have to worry about that. I don't have to stress or think about, oh, this gonna happen or that's gonna happen. No, it's like you just constantly building knowledge and acquiring knowledge to get whatever you want in this world. Because guess what? I ain't had $70,000 to drop on the car, but my credit did. So once I got the credit, I got the car. So that's how it worked, right? Because if you don't got the money or the credit, you damn sure can use the power that you have and information to your advantage to get whatever you want. What do I look like paying for a car note knowing what I know today? The only way I pay for a car note is if I'm trying to build installment debt credit so it can look good for a creditor anytime I apply for a loan. Besides that, I'm not paying for no car. Why would I do that? If I had a $120,000 Mercedes-Benz, the first thing I'd be thinking about, how can I discharge this off of my credit? That'd be the first thing I'd be thinking about. How can I take out all tracking devices from my car? Oh, I'm gonna get the tracker blocker. I told my uncle about it. He got a Tesla. My uncle Jason, the one y'all be seeing on here, I told him about it. They got my uncle paying $1,100 car notes for a Tesla. $1,100, and he got to pay for like 5 years. He had the car already 3 years. I said, Unc, he paid them people over $30-some thousand for that Tesla. I ain't paid a penny for that truck, not a penny. And the banking system worked all the same. People putting this stuff like it's just hard, complicated. It's not, y'all, but it was easy building that EIN number up, and it was easy. It was like cake, so I hope y'all take this information and run with it and know how to position yourself as the creditor, and also know how to put yourself in the best position where you can build, where this stuff is easy, where you can go into the bank, get whatever you want, and leave and do whatever you want to do. Because as long as you got this information, the banks is always there. The banks is like a system, like a monopoly game, right? They always going to be there. It's always going to be a dealership. It's always going to be credit. It's always going to be debt. It's always going to be assets. It's always going to be liabilities. It's always going to be charge-offs. Put yourself in a position where you can be like, man, you mean to tell me I can get $200,000-$300,000 in debt and charge it off my credit report based upon some errors that the creditor made at any time? Of course. Of course. Wouldn't they charge you a higher APR when inflation hit? Aren't you paying higher prices for things because they claim to have a limitation on goods? Whether you pay or not, the bank is still going to make their money by FDIC because everything FDIC insured. Every time a bank extend credit to you, they always have that. You can do this, right? A person can hack your credit card and take $30,000 off of it. And by 24 hours later, the bank can reimburse you in your credit card with that $30,000, and you can go right back to spending. That's how you know it's a game. They literally gave you points back. They ain't gave you no damn money back. They ain't got no gold or silver. These people gave you points. And by them giving you points, that's all you got. You ain't got nothing. You thought you was gonna be a real investigation, and they gotta actually physically find the money and reinstall it or put it back into the account. They don't have to do none of that. Everything is electronic transfer. Everything is digital. Everything is digital. We already in the digital age. In this day, this is Pokemon 6. But back then, it was real hard work because now all money is backed by dollar and gold. So if you pull some stuff like that back then, ain't no credit cards in 1912 or 1910. You talking about hard-earned money. If a man work an entire day, he gonna get paid for his labor, hard labor. Today, everything digital. A person can not like a sandwich at Subway and say, hey, I'm disputing this sandwich and get the whole thing back in an electronic transfer. Whole time the sandwich is good in the mud, but you can just discharge it just like that. And I be damn, like with this type of information and knowing that it's not illegal if you don't pay it back, you got people out there right now, right, who are in. I seen a guy today, right? He was in $26,000 in credit card debt. He said, man, I don't know. I'm about to file for Chapter 7 bankruptcy. Chapter 7 bankruptcy? You finna file for bankruptcy because of a credit card debt? Because of a credit card debt. And that's how you know Americans has lost it. Mentally, psychologically, spiritually, educationally, financially, lost it. If you mean to tell me if I took $138,000 off my credit report in 2 weeks, no, 3, my bad, 3 weeks, and you got $26,000 of credit card debt, you finna file for Chapter 7 bankruptcy? And I ain't filed for nothing. I ain't filed for no bankruptcy. I just didn't sign a promissory note, so you can't prove the debt instrument. I did not, and I canceled out the debt. Just like that. You can have it on your books, it don't really matter, especially when the debt is charged off. Y'all wrote it off, y'all got your money back. The same way with the credit card. What you think the bank did? They got it back, and they just sold it to a third-party collection agency, a guy who don't even speak English, just to see if you're crazy enough to pay them some money back. They're gonna say, hey, sir, yeah, I know you owe 26, we'll take 25. And you'll say, man, I have 14. That'll work. But they paying 10 cents for the damn debt. I'm out. Peace and love.